I'm going to show you on this Navien tankless water heater why you generally shouldn't service the condensate clean out, even though it seems so simple. So as you go here under the unit, here's your condensate drain and there's your condensate clean out. It's like a sediment bowl under the unit, like you'd see on old carburetors or something, just to kind of trap materials before it gets drained out. Now you can see that yellow line painted on there. That's from the factory, so they can tell if you've been jacking with it. Now when you look at it, it seems like super simple. It's like, why can't I clean that thing out? So what would happen is you'd pull this, and then you could pull this cap out, and a bunch of water would come out, and it'd smell like septic water because it sits in there a lot. But what's going to happen is you're gonna put this back in there, clean it out, put your pin back in, you think everything's fine. Well, this thing's gonna leak because there's an O-ring on there, and it goes right at the, you see this yellowing here? Well, right at the bottom, above this lip here that my finger's on, is where that O-ring rides. And this spot that looks like it's a place for an O-ring is actually just where that retaining clip holds this thing up in here. So I'm gonna have to reach up in here with a pick and grab that O-ring and hope it's still in good condition. But really which most homeowners could do, but the main problem is once I put that back in, is now I'm supposed to prime that system back with that water that drained out. And the way to do that is to pour water down the exhaust side. That's a process during the actually installation. Before all this is on here, they'll you know, they have easy access to the exhaust side, and they just pour water down it, and that primes the system. You as a homeowner, the problem is all this exhaust tubing's already installed, and then you're gonna have to go outside and pour water down it, and make sure you don't accidentally pour it down the intake side, which a lot of homes are going to have a port that runs outside for the intake as well. Mine doesn't, but a lot will, and you'd have a real mess. And the truth is these things, they don't take a lot of service. The user manual doesn't even describe you servicing this. It's just really tempting as you do one of your flushes for the heat exchanger that, oh boy, while I'm doing that, I'll just do this too. Generally, just don't touch it. If this creates a problem in the future, it'll be so far in the future, it'll be time for a professional service anyway. So, thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. I'm going to go ahead and show you the rest of the process for priming this condensate clean out in case you've accidentally pulled it. Again, don't pull that darn thing. But if you've done it by accident, here's how you take care of things. I'm on the outside of the house at the exhaust because this is going to be easier for me to do this way. The hard way would be to disconnect it from the unit and try and wrangle things around. The problem is like this is sealed here, and when I start lifting on that piping above the heater, it's going to resist, and it probably won't come out. Anyway, you get on the outside of the house. A lot of you will have two things for your water heater on the outside of the house. You got to make sure you're not pouring it down the intake. Every installer is different. Excuse me. Every installer is different, so who knows what yours is going to look like. Generally, the exhaust side will have a downpipe on it. The intake probably will not, but might too, as an effort to keep water from, rainwater from getting in. So anyway, if you have to, you might have to let the unit run and just feel that stuff is coming out of here rather than getting sucked in. So make absolutely sure you're at the exhaust side. Now, don't forget, when you reinstall that unit, pull that O-ring out with a pick, inspect the O-ring, reinsert it on that cap on the unit at the bottom. And you should feel some resistance because that O-ring is now in place when you push it back in and put that little metal ring on it. Now this is just something I cobbled together. I fill that 2 liter with water. It doesn't take that much fluid, but as long as your condensate drain is working correctly, it's all the excess is just going to flow out of that. Now you want to use the biggest tube possible that fits in there, and it's got to be long enough to overcome that curve. So I insert that in, and again, I've already done this, but this was full of water. I turn this upside down and I squeeze all the water out of that, and then I kind of observe and make sure 2 liters doesn't just pour back out at me here, and then go down at the bottom and inspect for leaks. Again, I know I keep reiterating this, but generally don't service this thing yourself. This is only for people who've accidentally pulled it and they got to get back up and running without calling somebody out for service. Hope this was helpful.